Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am your host, Joseph Labman. You guys having a good night. Happy Friday night to everybody. Like I said, if you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate that. Helps support this channel. And yeah, it's a free tap of the button. Helps promote this channel more in the algorithm. We need your guys' help. And we're trying to grow this from the bottom up. So yeah, we'd love your guys' support and your help. And let's get into it tonight. Little late night live for you guys. I wanted to react to some of this news coming out of OTAs this week from the Browns. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders is obviously the biggest name that everyone's paying attention to at OTAs and really the whole quarterback room. So we'll get into it tonight. But first thing I want to get into before I get into the OTAs is I want to give my take real quick on the NBA Finals. Just watching that game last night by Halliburton and the game-winning shot was unbelievable. That game, I didn't get to watch the whole game from start to finish. I got to watch most of the fourth quarter and went back and watched what happened in the first three quarters. But I mean, to have that many turnovers for Indiana, the Thunder to force that many turnovers in the first half, I think it was an NBA record, and to still lose that game, I think I don't know, man. Indiana's been doing this all playoff long. They win game one, and then after they win game one, they usually don't lose. They haven't lost. So I'm not saying Indiana's going to win, but it's going to be tough for OKC. Tough for Pride and thinking. I cannot wait for this game Sunday night. That shot by Halliburton was unbelievable. Got right to his spot, pulled right up. And I mean, that's what makes a great guy in the closing minutes. If he can get to a spot and pull up, you got to be able to get to a spot and make that shot. And that's what he did. So can't wait for Sunday night. But I just had to I just wanted to share that real quick because I just could not believe how that game unfolded. How OKC was up 12 almost most of the game. And that fourth quarter just choked it away. Especially with nine, was about 6 minutes left. I think they were up by like 9, and then the game just went out the fold. Or the game just went the complete 180 than it was the whole game. And Indiana just started pushing the ball more and doing what they did all year, getting the threes. Nesmith hit the three, and then that 1-3 in the left corner. And once that happened, it was on. So can't wait for Sunday night, though. It's going to be a hell of a series. So, but that's all I want to touch on that real quick. But going now to OTAs, which is why I know most of you are here. So let's start with this first report with Shedeur Sanders at OTAs. This is from CBS Sports. So they put out this article. It says, all aboard the Shedeur Sanders hype train. And so in this article, you can see right here, Shedeur throwing a pass. Let's put it up here on the screen. So watch that one more time. So you can see with Shedeur a lot so far in the OTAs. You've seen a lot of him. He's done a lot of red zone work. He's done a lot of nice passes in the red zone. I know he threw the one pass in the back of the end zone the other day. Dion posted it. A lot of people posted it. It was an absolute needle he threw in the back of the end zone. He's looked really good in the red zone clips that I've seen. Obviously, I haven't watched the practice from start to finish, but in the red zone, he's looked very good in the clips I've seen so far at OTAs. Now, it's just OTAs, but I think what you're seeing with Shedeur is you're seeing a guy start to get a little more comfortable. He seems to be settling in very well. And I think with a lot of this, what you're seeing, like you see there on the screen, it says Sanders is having a strong start to minicamp, creating a lot of hype regarding whether he can earn the starting job in week 1. The quarterback stats are there, but keep in mind all players are wearing shells and shorts. So he said, it goes on to say, it's not surprising to see a player look good in the early portion of OTAs. Sanders did go 9 of 14 with 3 touchdowns in the second OTA practice, open to the media this week, with third-round rookie Dylan Gabriel, who went 11 for 20 for 3 touchdowns. So Gabriel obviously had 6 more throwing attempts than Shedeur, but Shedeur 9 of 14, 3 touchdowns. Gabriel 11 to 23 touchdowns. Here's what I see so far between these two. You're hearing Shedeur's name being brought up more in terms of challenging, I think, Joe Flacco for the week 1 starting job. And because of that, I think Shedeur is definitely outperforming Dylan Gabriel so far in these OTAs. So far in rookie minicamp, so far in OTAs, Shedeur Sanders has completely outplayed Dylan Gabriel. Am I surprised by that? No. I think Shedeur's a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. I think Dylan Gabriel, nice talent, but I think he's got a long way to go if he ever wants to touch the field in the NFL. I just think he's too small. I mean, like he's too small at 5'10". Looks less than 200, maybe at 200 pounds. Looks less than 200 pounds. Left-handed. I just don't think he has a shot in the NFL. Personally, I just don't see why the Browns took him with the third-round pick. I have no idea. I was not happy with that pick. I like all the other picks. I did not like that pick, and we reacted to it live on this show, and I didn't. We all did not like it. Didn't understand it. I think could he pan out to be something? Possibly. You never know. I mean, there's always a chance. Do I think he will? If I had to bet my money, no. But I hope we don't look back at this and go, man, we could have used that pick on a receiver or something, because you had a guy there like Ty Felton out of Maryland. I know he was available on the board. You had some receivers left you could have took a shot on someone, because your receiver room right now is, I'm going to get into that in a little bit when I get to my main point here about the show. But going back to Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel, though, Shedeur, to me, I'm not surprised he's outperforming Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he's looked better. I'm sure he's looked better in the red zone clips I've seen. All the media members I've been able to actually watch the practices all say the same thing. The Shedeur's look much better than Dylan Gabriel. No surprise there. So you go to the first part there, though, what it says, and it was the main topic of this show. It says Shedeur's having a strong start to minicamp. So he's having a strong start, right? Creating a lot of hype regarding whether he can earn the starting job in week 1. So that's the big question here. Could Shedeur Sanders actually win the week 1 starting job? And I think it's very interesting, because when we signed Joe Flacco, even before we drafted anybody, I thought in my mind, Joe Flacco is definitely starting week 1. And if I had to bet right now, I still think the Browns' plan is still, this is all speculation from fans and media, I think the Browns still have the intention right now, because Shedeur has still done a lot of work off to the side in the other field of practice with more of the rookies. I think Joe Flacco will still be the starter week 1, unless Shedeur, which may happen, just absolutely dominates a minicamp. But again, I think the Browns are going to try to do this the right way. I think they're going to try to not rush it, which I don't think they should. Um, do I think it'd be a good or bad idea for them to start Shedeur week 1, which is the topic. Obviously I put that in the question. Would it be a good or bad thing? I mean, if the guy's ready week 1 and they feel confident about it, then I guess they have to roll with what they think's best. Me personally, I don't like any rookie, first pick or whatever pick. I don't like them getting rushed out on the field. Now, we have seen some guys go out there year 1 and start week 1 and play pretty well, but a little more recently. But a lot of guys, like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, those guys, they sat right away. And I think there's value in that. And I think these guys need to develop more. I think these guys need to learn more of the system, get more acclimated in the NFL game through practice and just repetition and getting comfortable before you just throw them out there. If you throw a guy out there too early, you could really mess with his confidence, and you can really rattle him, right? And what happens is, if he goes out there and has a bad game or two, he starts reading the news clips, right? Everybody says, oh, this kid's a bust, or he's not going to make it. Look at him, he's trash, because you threw him out to the wolves week 1. You better make sure that guy's ready before you throw him out there. Now, is there one guy that I think could go out there week 1 and play well? I think it could be Shedeur, because Shedeur is just so damn confident. I mean, Shedeur, his confidence is sky high. He might be the most confident guy one of the most confident QB prospects, and just prospects in general that I've seen come out of the draft in a long time. Just the way he talks. I mean, that whole night when he got the phone call, the prank call, and the person pranked him, uh, he was just sitting there like, "Where that ball at? Give me the ball." I just started throwing the football around, like it wasn't even phased by it. Just so well, it is what it is. I mean, this guy's confidence is sky high. That's one thing you cannot take away from this kid is his confidence. His confidence is through the roof. And that's what I like about him a lot. And I think that's really it all starts there first. If you ain't confident in anything you do, you're not going to do well in it. You got to have it up there first. And so Shedeur's confidence to me, I think, gives me somewhat of a I don't want to say gives me some. I see somewhat of a chance because just of his confidence, and I think the skill set is still there. I think he's a very accurate passer. I think the stats show that in college he was one of the most accurate passers in college football. I think he was the most accurate passer statistically in college football history. I think his accuracy there is there. I think the familiarity with some of the system, with Pat Shermer's system at Colorado and Stefanski's, I think is similar, obviously there. So I think there is some comfort there. He's going to have a running game here that he's never really had. I think with Juckins, Sampson, and Ford, better O line, better defense on the other side. So it could happen here. Do I think it'd be a bad idea? I don't think it'd be a terrible idea. I don't think it'd be bad if they feel, but only if the coaches feel he's ready. If the coaches, though, are kind of, we get to week one, around week one, and you just get the vibe that Stefanski, any Colorado fans or Sanders fans coming in here to Cleveland, as somebody who's covered the Browns for the last 3 years now, and just fans in general have watched. We've watched at times where it just seemed kind of like Stefanski didn't have the full autonomy to do what he wanted to do out there in the football field, in decision making, and the things he wanted to do. So I'm really curious to see what the coaches are going to say about this process as it gets closer to week one in September. And so, because I think right now, to me, like I said, I still think it's Joe Flacco. I still think Joe Flacco is going to be the week one starter. I still think the Browns are not going to rush Shedeur out there. I just think they want to go out there with Flacco because he's a veteran and he's had some continuity here. Obviously, the run 2 years ago. And I think their plan is let's develop Shedeur some more. Let's see where we are by week 5 or 6. And then they probably make the move then. That's what I think is ideal. And if I had to bet my money, I think that's the best scenario. Like I said, I don't want Shedeur out to week. And another reason why I don't think it's a good idea possibly to not put Shedeur out to week one is because he had a great it's funny. He had a bad O line, excuse me, at Colorado. He had a bad running game and an okay defense at times, not so good defense. So he'll have all three better here. He'll have a better running game, like I said, a better O line, and a better defense here. But there's one thing he had better in Colorado, and even with Jerry Jeudy on our roster, I still think the Colorado receiving core is better than the Cleveland Browns receiving core. Last year's Colorado receiving core is better than the Cleveland Browns receiving core right now. Because outside of Jerry Jeudy, I don't know, Zach Jackson, who went to practice this week, watched, and he and Zach Jackson's very plugged in with the Browns. Shout out to him. He even said on Bull and Fox's podcast yesterday on Bull's channel, he's like, the receiver room, man, outside of Jerry Jeudy, it looks very, very iffy. And so my whole thing with Shedeur is if I put him out there week one, or any quarterback, even Joe Flacco, who the hell are they throwing the ball to outside of Jerry Jeudy? Because if I'm a team right now going against the Browns defense, I'm just going to double Jerry or put a bracket over the top, put a safety over the top. And there, the other guy is the other side of the field. The other, whatever who we throw out there, if it's Cedric Tillman, who has upside, showed flashes, but can he stay healthy? And is that who we want to see a little more there? Deontay Johnson, last time we saw him, he was walking off a field. So I'm not saying the guy's talented. Maybe he can become something here. Maybe sometimes guys get a second, third chance and they become something. But Deontay Johnson's the big question mark. Jamari Thrash, who they drafted last year in the 3rd round, played well in the preseason, but we never saw him during the season. So I don't know what he is. So, I mean, I look at this receiving core right now and I'm like, outside of Jerry Jeudy, who the hell is he going to throw the ball to? Who's Joe Flacco or Shedeur going to throw the ball to? I don't know. I mean, we're going to be doing heavy run game, but even in the run game, You got some, that O line last year did not look as good as it did in year prior. Obviously, the man, the O line coach left, Bill Callahan, and went with the son of the Titans. So you saw that dramatic drop off last year without Coach Callahan in there because accountability wasn't there. And so we got to start there. Obviously, I think Coach Mike Bloomgren, the new O line coach, is going to do a great job. Somebody I trust, who's an O line developer, played in the NFL for 6 years. I reached out and asked him, and was actually learned from Bill Callahan too. Um, and knows Coach Bloomgren pretty well and his background, and he said Coach Bloomgren's a kick-ass coach, and he'll do a great job. Like he's the man. He'll be just fine. So I think that's what they needed last year. They did not have. I mean, Mike Vrabel at one point, towards the end of the season, was taking over O line coaching duties because they probably need somebody in there, just some accountability. They could hold these guys accountable and coach them hard because it was not happening most of the season. Now, Dewan Jones lost weight. It looks great. I think he could be the left tackle for the future. Dewan Jones has incredible talent. It's just, can he stay healthy and can he get in better shape? So that's all it is for him. But there's still some question marks in that O line, right? There's still some question marks. Do we have a left? Is Dewan Jones going to be the guy at left tackle? Joel Bitonio probably he's towards the end of the road here. Can he put it together for one more season? And Ethan Pochich and Teller and Conklin's obviously going to stay healthy. And they brought in Tevin Jenkins, who I like. I think he's a good pick. I think they brought the other guy as well. I can't remember his name, the other swing tackle. Cornelius, I think. Cornelius. So that O line first, we got to see if that O line's gonna be really good. Like, can they stay healthy? Number one, because they were hurt last year, and can they get back to being just? I think they should be a good O line. Maybe not great, but just a good O line, solid O line. Can they be solid and better than more consistent than they were last year? No, I think a lot of last year was not their fault. I think a lot of last year you were asking those guys, uh, you know, to do things that they were not equipped to do. That you did not. When this O line was put together initially through the draft and free agency starting back in 2020, when these guys took over, um, it was more in the older scheme, right? More of the outside or wide zone scheme, Kevin Stefanski's offense, the West Coast, Gary Kubiak system. That's what these guys were brought in for. These guys last year were put in a heavy gun system, dropping back multiple times a game. And I'm just telling you, as a former O-line, when you're in pass pro that much as they were last year, you're going to get tired. And when you run the ball, when they ran the ball last year, it was such a basic inside zone. And guys were always in the gun. Our running backs were always getting the ball off the gun, not behind the quarterback, where they can get a running start towards the line of scrimmage. Didn't happen. The O-line, in my opinion, last year kind of got crapped on a bit at times with the play calling and just the system and what they were trying to do. And you had all you went from Deshaun Watson to Jameis Winston, and then I think DTR was out there for a game, or was it who was the other guy? I can't remember the other quarterback that played last year, but maybe it was a Bailey Zappi. I can't remember. I think it was Bailey Zappi. But anyways, last year was rough for the O-line. So I want to see this year back in the old system, with the old running concepts that these guys are good at, that these O-linemen are used to. And a lot of these guys really dominate in the line of scrimmage. And how do you dominate in the line of scrimmage in O-line? A lot of it starts in the run game, imposing your will, because that's more run game's more man on man, right? It's just powering the guy in front of you, knowing your assignment. If you need to swing, if you need who you need to put a hat on, that's what it's all about. And so I want to see this O-line first. That's the biggest thing, is get healthy with this O-line. So I think in terms of starting Shedeur week one, I want to put Shedeur out there whenever week I start him with the best supporting cast I can, with the best structure around him. And I think where the Browns have gone wrong in the past is they put guys out there with lackluster structure, and we try to we want them to be Superman. We want these quarterbacks to go out there and cover up all our deficiencies and, become an all-pro as a rookie. Well, they're rookies, right? Not every rookie is going to be as good as Pat Mahomes was his first year, but Pat Mahomes also sat technically as his rookie year. But not a lot of, you can't expect these guys to go out there and carry the weight of your franchise. And, the hell with the O-line, the hell with the receiver room. You need to go out there and just show us if you're good not enough. You should be able to will us all the way with scrap pieces at receiver, and an O-line that could be good, could not be good again. We don't know. We'll find out. So, I think the structure around Shedeur, if I'm the Browns, you've never gotten it right at quarterback since 99. So why not just not rush him out there and let's build the best structure around him and then put him out there. And he may be the best quarterback in that room, but he's still a rookie. And you have to develop rookies properly. It does not mean he's not going to be good. If he doesn't start week one, it doesn't mean he's not good enough. It just means he's a rookie. It's okay. I still think he can be good. I think in order for him to reach the success that people think he can reach, let him flourish the right way. Why don't we bring a quarterback up properly the right way for once? We just like to throw guys out there and throw them out to the wolves, and then their confidence goes to shit after they play a bad game or two. Cleveland fans and the media start getting on them. This guy's not good, and that's it. And it's the same script and story we've seen here all along, right? Or just bad infrastructure in the building in terms of bad coaching, bad lack of talent. You look at all the guys we've had. I mean, you go to Johnny Manziel. That was a guy who we probably should not have drafted to begin with, but clearly there was some stuff in the building as well where you're just kind of like, this guy, uh, didn't have a chance to succeed here. And he wouldn't have succeeded anyways because the guy off the field was a disaster too at the time. But look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, another one who, look at all, I mean, he came in here his rookie year, didn't start right away, okay? Had Tyrod Taylor in front of him. His OC gets fired in the middle of the season and his head coach. And they put in Freddie Kitchens as the OC, Greg Williams as the interim coach. They still have a pretty good rest. He has a great rest of his rookie year, excuse me, and almost make the playoffs. And then they fire Greg Williams, and make Freddie Kitchens, who has never been a head coach and only had a half a season as a coordinator in the NFL. Let's make him the head coach with Greg Robinson at left tackle, and just let's bring Odell Beckham Jr. in the mix as well. Who's going to want the ball. And you saw what happened that year. It was a complete disaster. So then they bring in another head coach in Kevin Stefanski and another offensive mind in Alex Van Pelt, right? Now that year they established some stability. Those guys came in and said, okay, we're good in the run game. We're going to be a run-first team. If Baker was very efficient that year, they put him in spots where he could be efficient. And the more the play action pass, which he was good at, and he had a pretty good 2020 season. We come back to 2021, and these guys just throw him out there. He gets hurt week 2. We just throw him out there because they want to see if he was, and according to Jason Lloyd, they had to play him that whole year, even hurt, because they wanted to know if he was the guy moving forward. They had to decide they were going to pay him or not. But that's my problem with the Browns. Is number one, it starts with ownership, with the amount of head coaches the guy went through his whole time here, and coordinators, but also you threw him out there because you wanted to know from a business standpoint. We don't care if you're hurt or not. I remember the Christmas Day game against the Packers. Stump Mitchell was on the coach staff. The old running back coach said that he didn't practice that whole week leading up to that game against the Packers on Christmas Day, and they flew him into Lambeau that morning and threw him out there on the field. And I look back at that now, and when I heard that, I'm like, how is that feasible? Like, how like, why would you throw a guy out there like that if he's that hurt? He didn't practice and you're flying him in that morning, and you throw him out there and expect him to go out there and try to win you a game. And he played terrible that game, and I don't think it was his fault. He was hurt, and the guy's confidence probably wasn't there because he just wasn't practicing. And so that's my biggest concern. And to all the Shedeur fans tuning in, and I see some of you in the comments. I'll get to your comments in a second. I know you guys love Shedeur, and I like Shedeur too. And I think Shedeur can be a really good NFL quarterback. I was speaking as a Browns fan, a lifelong Browns fan. I'm just telling you guys, this organization has, since, let's just go back to '99, has a terrible record with the quarterbacks. Obviously, they can never find one. And so, if Jimmy Haslam wants to, the only way I see Shedeur Sanders starting week 1 is if Jimmy Haslam forces it. And the reason why I say it, just like he did with Baker's last season, because they want to see, can this kid be the guy moving forward? Because next year's quarterback class looks pretty good as of right now, and we have 2 first-round picks. So, do I think that's fair to Shedeur, though? No, I don't. I don't care if he's a 5th-round pick, which I think he was better in a 5th-round pick. Why fill the 5th round? We already got into that, but you guys all have your opinions on that. But he's not. He's better in a 5th-round pick. He's a rookie quarterback to me. That's how I see him. Right? He's a rookie quarterback. I want my rookie quarterback to be developed properly. If he's not ready to start week 1 and he shouldn't be rushed out there, Jimmy has him. You're gonna have to wait to put him out there. The only way I see him getting put out there week one again is if I think, or to me, is they think they have to see what this guy is, and then let's see what Dylan Gabriel is. Let's put the young guys out there. Do I think that's where they're thinking? No, I don't think that's why you bring in a Joe Flacco and a Kenny Pickett. Now, do I think Kenny Pickett will be on the roster week one? I don't. I think he's the odd man out here. I think he'll get moved to New Orleans or something. And I think Flacco will start week one, and then I think eventually Shedeur will take over. So as for Dylan Gabriel, I don't think Dylan Gabriel hits the field at all this year. I don't think he hits the field at all. I think Shedeur will, and I think once Shedeur does get out there, I think he'll do okay. I think Shedeur will play well. I think he'll surprise some people, and I will see what happens. We'll see what the Browns think after the season. But again, my expectations for the Browns this year aren't high in terms of winning because I just don't. The receiver room, and there's still some question marks in this roster with the O line. Defensively, they got to be better in the back end than they were last year. No JOK this year, linebackers. So the roster still got a lot of holes they got to fix. And so that's why, to me, my biggest reason why I don't want Shedeur being pushed out there week one is because I just don't think the structure around him right now is. I don't think the Browns structure and the other position groups and both sides of the ball is where it needs to be for a rookie quarterback to go out there. You can put a Joe Flacco out there because he's a 40-year-old veteran who has been in the NFL for how many years now. He can make it work the best probably out of anybody. So, and according to all the reports, he's looked the best of all the quarterbacks at the OTA so far, which isn't a surprise. He should be. I mean, he's always been better than Kenny Pickett, and he's got the biggest arm there, and he's 40-year-old Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yes, he's older, but he should be better. It's okay. I think Shedeur's probably going to be well, how do I say this? I think Shedeur by the end of the season will be better because I think Joe will just be old. I think at 40, watching Joe Flacco last year compared to the year prior here in Cleveland, I don't think he has 1 or 2 years left in him. Maybe I could be wrong. I think Shedeur obviously is a rookie with a lot of talent. I think he's on the up and up. So, but I think as of right now, until Shedeur gets comfortable and they're ready to put him out there, Joe's your best option. So, let's get some of these comments here. If I play a clip I got, Rose says the Browns have ruined 41 QBs since '99. Why not another one? Yeah. I hope not, Ro. Oh man, it's been rough, Ro. Good to see you though, bud. Tori, good to see you. Go Shedeur Sanders. Browns got lucky to get him in the 5th round. I sure hope so. My man Rodney's in the house. What's up, Rodney? How's it going, Joseph? Doing good, brother. Good to see you. So you got the Buffs in there. Go Buffs. What you said at this point, I'll be happy for him to make the 53-man roster, and then we can go from there. I think he'll definitely make the 50-man roster. Dan's in the house. Shout out to Dan from the Fix. He said the Flacco will go 1-4 in the first 5 games, and Shedeur Mania will begin in week 6. That's exactly how I see it playing out. I think they'll probably be like, I think they'll be 2-4, and then I think that's when he comes in. But we're speaking the same language. Shedeur by far the best quarterback in the room. Nothing to see here. If Shedeur earns it, he should play. Teams won't have film on him yet. Yeah, I agree with that. Go Bucks, and good to see it. I think if he does earn it in camp, if he outperforms all of them, then I think the Browns have no choice but to put him out there. But I think he's got to earn it. But I also, if it's close, or if you don't think he's not better than Joe Flacco in some areas yet, just from experience, then I don't think they should force it either and put him out there. But if he earns it, I agree with you. Then yeah, I said that earlier. Unless he just completely outplays him, which could happen, which would be impressive too. If he went out there and had a hell of a camp, where it was like this kid's undeniably he's got to start week 1. That's pretty impressive with the receiver room they have, because this receiver room right now is not looking good for Cleveland. I mean, they have got to get some help in there via trade. Help out your rookie. How about all your quarterbacks, whether it's Flacco or Shedeur? Get these dudes some weapons outside of Jerry Jeudy. I mean, we got David Njoku and Harold Fannin as our tight ends. I think both will be great. But in terms of receivers, we need some receivers bad. 6-11 season ahead. Dylan Gabriel will be an NFL journeyman for 3 seasons for winning the Grey Cup for the Montreal Alouettes. I agree. I think 6-11. I think they can win 7-8 games. I think if they can repeat 2018, Dan, I think that's the best case scenario. Where I think they won like they 8-7-1 that year. I think that's the best case scenario. Is 7-8 wins. 6-11 is not out of question because the rest of the roster is a lot of question marks, and we'll see. But as far as Dylan Gabriel goes, I agree. I just don't. Again, I hope the kid proves me wrong. Maybe he'll be the man. But would I bet on it? No. He's just too small, especially in this division. I just don't see it. Why we took him in the third round, I don't know. I don't get it. I still don't get it. I didn't get it that night. Still haven't got it yet to this day. And yeah, gosh. Anyways, he said that is terrible. 41 QB since 99. Guess all the qualification you need is to know the difference between a basketball and football. I guess so. Ideally, Flacco starts, goes 500 till Shedeur is ready. Yeah, I mean, yeah, or like I said, maybe around 2-4, just below 500. I think that's when you throw them out to me to get a lightning in the bottle. We don't think small like that, not in our DNA. He said Shedeur throws a catchable, accurate pass that helps receivers. He does, and he threw a lot of great passes to Colorado. I mean, he was the all-time completion percentage in college football history. He has the highest, so he throws a very catchable ball. You've seen that in some of the clips in OTAs as well. My only thing is go Bucks is these receivers. I mean, he could throw them an accurate pass, but can they get open and catch it? And can they actually get open? Because that's the problem with the rest of these guys. It's a lot of it. I mean, Cedric Tillman showed a lot of, I think, good signs when he played at the back end of the season, especially when Jameis Winston came in there. He had some big games. I think he's a very talented guy. I think he can be the second receiver for this team this year. I think he's talented. I mean, before he got hurt in college, you go watch his season before his last season in college. He got hurt. I think only his last season, he only played like 2 or 3 games in Tennessee. But the season before that, Cedric Tillman balled out. I mean, it was looking like a top 3 round pick at least. He could have been a top 2 round pick. You go look at his stats too against some of his games. Dominant. I mean, he had some 200-yard games, I believe. He's just unfortunately got hurt his last season. His rookie season in the NFL, he walked into the quarterback carousel situation that year where Deshaun played, and then he got hurt, and we had DTR and PJ Walker played at one point, and then Flacco. And his first NFL season was coming off of injury. That's tough as a rookie. So I think last year you saw him finally get his feet wet a little bit. And he showed some signs, especially in that Baltimore game. So I think he could become something. But right now, though, I think the receiver room has still got a lot of questions. And I think that's why, Shedeur and Joe Flacco, I think, could throw very catchable passes. But can these guys get open consistently, which has been an issue here in Cleveland. Outside of Jerry Jeudy, we haven't had guys that can get open consistently, right? Guys can create separation consistently. We just haven't had it in the last couple of years. We've had a lot of slow receivers. I think we had the slowest receivers miles per hour wise in the entire league, if I'm not mistaken. Last year, there was some statistic out there. Even if there was, I can't remember that stat, but you don't even need the stat. All you had to do is just go watch on tape last year. Guys were not open consistently. Guys were just slow getting out of breaks. Couldn't catch passes at times that were thrown to them. I mean, it's been a mess. Outside of Jerry Jeudy, it was a complete just inconsistency, just not good. Yeah, inconsistent, not good. Excuse me. Have you reconsidered Shedeur being kept away from the media? It'll be a frenzy if they show him out playing the rest of the quarterback. That's a good point, Rodney. I have wondered that myself, Rodney. Why? And I know some other people around Cleveland, Rodney, and the media. The times the media's had access to these OTAs, they haven't really showed him playing with the starters at all. I don't know if he's played. I didn't see any clips of him playing with the starters in 11-on-11. So I don't know if it's by design. I know he did play with the starters in 11-on-11 the one day the media wasn't there. So I don't know if the Browns are just trying to keep the expectations low right now, and in terms of like for Shedeur and Gabriel, because they're 2 rookies, and telling them just take your time. We don't need to rush anything. And I think maybe they're trying to take as much pressure off these guys, although I think Shedeur is not fazed by pressure. And I highly doubt Gabriel is kind of either, playing at Oregon. So, but I don't know. I think the Browns are trying to. I'll be honest with you, Roddy. I almost feel like the coaching staff's trying to, or the organization's trying to put training wheels on these guys a little bit, and trying to protect them a little bit just from any overreaction from the media. It'll say Shedeur throws a pick in OTAs. Is it the end of the world? No, it's just OTAs. But he may throw 3 touchdowns, which you saw in the stats earlier. But I don't know. It is weird. But I'll tell you what, though, some of the highlights we have seen of him, Rodney, he's looked pretty good. I mean, that one touchdown pass through in the back of the end zone the other day looked great. I mean, that was a needle he threw. And he threw that great pass to that kid out of Kent State back at minicamp as well. He's thrown some pretty good passes. But I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think I've heard some different conflicting answers on that. Some people think it's no big deal. It is what it is. And some people think maybe the Browns trying to protect the guys a little bit or try to keep the media away. I don't know. It's very interesting. Shout out to Tune In Sports. Says salute. By the way, if you're new here, or if you haven't subscribed already to Tune In Sports, go subscribe to Tune In Sports, and the best Cavs and NBA content creator out there. Go subscribe to him. I popped over there the other day, and we talked about some Cooper Flag trade scenarios. One of them maybe the Cleveland, although we thought it was kind of silly, but it was fun conversation. And we're talking about a lot of the Cavs moves they can make this offseason. We're talking about the NBA Finals, I'm sure, and just the NBA as a whole. So go subscribe to Tune In Sports and show him some love. Another guy who a lot of passion and love for what he does, and just trying to make it to the top like myself. Any thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? He said, well, it's interesting. I mean, here, Aaron Rodgers is obviously Aaron Rodgers. He's first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks in the last, probably top 10 quarterback all time. I think on most people's list, but him to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's interesting because Pittsburgh has done this. They've done a lot of plug and play. Last year, they plugged and played Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and made the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, the playoffs, for them, they just have not been able to go over the hump. Ever since 2020, Pittsburgh every year, really since 2017 when they lost to the Jaguars in that one game with Blake Bortles, they have just never been able to get over the hump since. And it's going on 8 years now. So it could Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a very talented roster still. Obviously, they traded George Pickens and brought in DK Metcalf. They drafted Caleb Johnson, the running back. I think the running room now with him and Jalen Warren should be a lot better. They got Freiermuth and the other guy from Georgia, the freak, had tight end. I think the biggest thing with them is their O-line. Can their O-line be better in the run game, especially that last year? Their yards per attempt. Their running scheme last year was really good. It's tough and hard-nosed. They made an effort to run the ball. They ran the ball well some games. I think they could run the ball more consistently, and I think drafting a Caleb Johnson and hopefully that their offensive line gets better. I think they could. Obviously, on defense, you got the front seven's always really good. Still got the back end with Minka. So, Joey Porter Jr. as well. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing to tune in. I don't know. Because what's Aaron Rodgers? How interested is Aaron Rodgers? I mean, the fact that he waited this long to announce it, which I think he knew he was going there all along, but why did you wait till now in June? Did you just want to skip all the other stuff? I mean, you heard Cam Hayward came out before the draft. It was kind of like either you want to be a Steeler, you don't want to be a Steeler. Like, make up your mind. So I'm really curious to see how this works, because you go back to last year in that locker room, and remember the Browns, or not the Browns, the AFC North was in the Hard Knocks last year. And you heard some stuff come out of the locker room after the season. And it didn't sound like a lot of guys in that locker room really got along from some of the reports and just watching it on the Hard Knocks. So now you're putting Aaron Rodgers in there, who some teammates like him a lot, love him. Some teammates in the past have just, you could tell teams like the Jets and stuff, they were not all in on Aaron Rodgers. And the question was, is Aaron Rodgers all in on the team and just playing ball? Because sometimes when you watch this guy now, he just looks like he's just kind of like not interested in playing football anymore. And then sometimes you watch him, it looks like Aaron Rodgers again. So if Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, they got a shot to not only make the playoffs but possibly challenge the Baltimore Ravens for the division. I think because I think they are that talented enough with him to get that done. Um, Now him and DK Metcalf together, that's gonna be interesting. How they feed DK the ball, and if stuff goes bad, what is that gonna look like? That's gonna be interesting. Though, I can tell you that. It'll be very interesting. And Will Howard, I guess he just gets to sit for a year behind Aaron Rodgers, which I think could benefit him. So we'll see. Shedeur played under center at Jackson State. He definitely has experience. Yeah, I think he'll be fine there. I think he'll be. I have much more confidence in Shedeur playing under center than Dylan Gabriel. That's for sure. I don't. I'm not concerned with that at all, Rodney. I think, like you said, he played under center at Jackson State, and I think his natural mechanics. He's a very good pocket passer, natural pocket passer, has good pocket awareness and presence, his feet and stuff. I think he'll be just fine. And also playing with Pat Shermer and his system at Colorado, a lot of similar concepts. I think the transition for him will be fairly, I don't say, I mean, it's always a transition from college because you're not, I mean, at Colorado, he played in the gun a lot. So it's a going back again to getting those reps of turning your head and looking back and locating coverage from under center. I think that's still repetition. But I think with repetition and stuff, I think he'll be fine. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, and drum roll, please. Kenny Pickett, ladies and gentlemen, your AFC North. Oh man, I hope not. I don't think Kenny Pickett's gonna be on the Browns roster by week 1. I think he's the odd man out. I don't. They're not rolling in with 4, but I don't think he'll be the guy either. So that's just me. But I hope not. If the Browns can run and team safeties. Or excuse me, if the Browns can run and teams bring safeties up, Shedeur will torch them, in my opinion. I hope so. I'm not saying he can't. I think he can. Again, my thing to go Bucks, like I keep saying, is just the receiver room. I think they need to get one more. They need to get one more solid for sure thing out there. Somebody who can get open consistently. I know there's been the Chris Olave rumors. If they can make that happen, I would try my hardest to make that happen if I were them. Jerry Jeudy or Chris Olave, now I feel a little better. I got 2 guys now I can rely on. But just Jerry Jeudy right now and Cedric Tillman, I guess, to me, is still a question mark. I need to see it more consistently. And then Deontay Johnson and Jamari Thrash. That receiver room to me, who knows? These guys could become good, but right now it's a big question mark. So I think you got to have the guys that can get open. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't, because right now the only guy to get open consistently in that room is Jerry Jeudy. So they need somebody else in there, in my opinion. Joe, weren't most of Shedeur throws to 4 strains? Do you think his completion rate would be better with the first strains? I mean, I don't know. I mean, because again, I don't think there's outside of Jerry Jeudy again, whoever he's throwing to. I mean, whoever's a 4th string receiver right now probably isn't as bad as the guy who's on the 2nd or 3rd string. I'll just be honest with you. So, do I think it's completion rate? I don't know. But here's the thing: when you look at the stat thing's kind of silly to me in the OTAs because it's a lot of it's situational. What you're doing, like a lot of his stuff we've seen, what you say has been in the red zone, and in the red zone, like the one pass we saw, he threw a needle in the back of the end zone. He's thrown some pretty good passes in the red zone, but I don't know how many live 11-on-11 reps he's starting from, like, let's say, working up the field, right? Starting at the 20, 25, working up the field. How many reps, how many of his throws have been more in the red zone situations or maybe inside the 40? So I don't know. I mean, obviously going against the first string guys, there's better corners out there. That makes a difference possibly because I think the 4th string guys, obviously, it's probably easier to get open off of those guys because they don't cover as well as Greg Newsome or Martin Emerson or Denzel Ward. Now, I don't think Denzel's even been there because this OTAs is voluntary. So would it make a difference? I think his completion would still be probably around the same. Just because I just think right now they're just doing a lot of basic stuff. I mean, OTAs are very basic. It's not a lot of complex things to it. They're out there just running, going through situational stuff and just basic concepts, some of their fundamentals, and that's about it. That's why a lot of guys don't even go. That's why it's voluntary. Well, you say that's my point. They are catching everything from Shedeur. Yeah, I mean they can catch it, but again, my thing, those guys, can they get open? Um, that's the problem. Nobody has Prime as their dad. Shedeur has heard all the noise since he was 5. Yeah, he ain't phased by the noise. I agree with that. He ain't phased by the noise. I don't think he's phased by it. That kid's got supreme confidence. By the way, I know you guys were on our live last week. We talked about the spaghetti dinner thing where they did where the rookies went and sat and cooked their own food. I found that clip. Um, Somebody else reposted it from his Twitch live stream, and I'll be on number one. All the rookies are sitting there eating their food, and the media is just standing off in the distance, filming them and watching them eat. And I thought that was odd. Like, why does the media need to be there for that? And then the second thing was I saw where she came up to him, and Shedeur's kind of like, "What question you want to ask?" And he's having a good time with his teammates, like not trying to be bothered, having a good time, laughing. And I saw that to come up and ask a question about haters and all this stuff, and like kind of negative stuff. It's like, why? Why are you asking this kid this in that setting? Like, ask him another time. Like, it just to me, it was. Uh, I don't even blame her. I blame the team. Whoever allowed the team should not allow media to access that event. That should be just a closed-in event with only team media personnel just filming it. If you want to document it for fun, it's interesting. It's fun to see him interact with his teammates, watch these guys cook and stuff. And some guys maybe never cooked before, so it's interesting. It's funny. I think it should be a team thing only. You put on YouTube, right? But they had the media there, and for her to have the chance to go up and ask him that question in that setting, I thought was inappropriate. That's just me. I just think there's times and places, and it's why. I just don't get it. I don't know. Let's see here. What's your take on your door practicing in the field by itself? What door? What's your take on your door? You mean Shedeur practicing in the field by itself? Can you? I don't know what you're saying there, Rodney. You mind clarifying that comment? Oh, right here. I got you, brother. He said, "Do you have an opinion about Shedeur practicing on the field by himself?" Uh, I don't know. That's interesting. Well, what do you mean by that? You mean he was out actually like practicing on the field with? Because I know the reporter said that him and Gabriel have been mostly with the rookies on another field, and they've had the vets with Pickett and Flacco on another field, which tells me that he's probably not starting week 1 as of right now, which could change in training camp. But I think right now, like I said, OT is a lot of basic stuff, and it's a lot of implementing the systems and fundamentals and just basic concepts and stuff, learning all the basics. That maybe they're just trying to slowly build these guys up, which I agree with. The rookies, you don't need to put a lot on their plate too early. But that's what I've heard. Both him and Gabriel's just been on another field with the rookies. Aaron Rodgers will go off on everyone first chance he gets. Not a fan at all. You're probably right what you say. I think you're probably right there. Because, I mean, as long as I don't get the process of why he did it, the way he went about it. I mean, taking that long to decide you want to go to Pittsburgh. I agree with Cam Hayward. Either you want to be a freaking Steeler or you don't. But this guy, let's just drag it out. And then all of a sudden, middle of June, okay, yeah, I'll come play. Like, okay. Update on Vegas odds start QB for the Browns for the fix. Pickett minus 115, Flacco 160, Sanders 180, Gabriel 850. I would take the Flacco 160. That's just me. I don't think Kenny Pickett, especially what some of the reporters have seen, a lot of people, it's been between Pickett and Flacco. Flacco's been miles ahead of him, even at just the OTAs. So I don't think Pickett has a shot. I don't think Gabriel has a shot. I think it's Flacco probably, and I think Shedeur is a wild card in it. But I think it's Flacco plus 160. I'll take that all day. Do you have an opinion? Okay, I already talked about that. The Browns had a great draft of rookies. People were underestimating them. They had a pretty good, outside of the Dylan Gabriel pick, Rodney, I think they had a pretty good draft. I mean, here they got the best interior guy, D-line guy, which they have not had that force inside. And Mason Graham, I think it's only going to help that D-line with Myles Garrett and that whole defense. Quinshon Judkins with the Obviously, they got the first round pick for next year, and then they got that second round pick and took Quinshon Judkins. So I think it's going to be a great running back. Probably should have been taken the first round, honestly. Dylan Sampson was a great pick, the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, so you got two great running backs you brought in. Harold Fannin Jr. from Canton. I think he's going to be a great player. Kid's a hell of an athlete. I think he could be an all-world tight end. Honestly, I'll say it right now. Maybe boldish, maybe a bold statement, but I think that kid could be an all-world tight end. He's that talented. Carson Schweissinger had a great offseason, really shut up a lot of people's boards. And I think they really needed him with JOK being out next year. This kid can runs a 4.5, can cover sideline to sideline. I know Shorts like to run that 4.25 a lot. That defensively, I think he'll fit right in the middle there with all the ground he can cover. I think he'll be great. Let's see, who else did I miss? And then Shedeur. I think was there another pick I'm missing? No, I'm not. Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur could become their franchise starting quarterback. That's what they've been looking for. I think he has all the intangibles, the tools, the mindset, natural pocket passer. I think the Browns just got to put it all together and help him out. And I think he's got to obviously do his part, which I think he will. He's been great since he's been here. And let's go from there. So the only pick I didn't like was the Gabriel pick. You nailed it on the head. She was totally out of line. Yeah, but I blame more, and I don't agree with what she did, but I also can be mad at her either you gave her access to do her job. So she can, it's really, I think I have a bigger issue with the team for why you even put your guys in that. You shouldn't put your guys in that situation to begin with, which again, makes me nervous about our rookies, what you say, because especially our quarterbacks, because the Browns, since 99, have put their rookies in bad situations and structures and structure, and they have not been able. I can tell you how many guys never fully reached their potential here, and a lot of guys we said were just not good players, garbage or bust, and like people said Baker Mayfield was a bust. Guy went to another bad organization with the Carolina Panthers, got his feet wet with Sean McVay for a year with great structure and stability, a great offensive mind coach and great head coach, and then goes to Tampa, a successful winning organization. And now you see what the guy is. He was not a bust. Furthest from. He's made $100+ million. He's a starting franchise quarterback in the NFL who could win you a lot of games, get you to the playoffs. Now you just got to go over the hump of the divisional round, which maybe he'll do this year. But the guy was he's a really good NFL quarterback. But again, here in Cleveland, bad structure, right? And if you're doing it off the field, you're putting your guys in bad situations off the field. Not say bad, but you're putting your guys in those situations off the field, like in this scenario here. That makes me it's like, why? You know what I mean? It's just like what you do off the field, it all kind of ties in what you do on the field. And I just hope that Stefanski has the full autonomy, because I don't think Stefanski will do that. But again, here in Cleveland, a lot of times, unfortunately, ownership and the front office and other people have had too much influence, especially in the analytics department. So hopefully that's changed. The pushback from fans of Shedeur is because Mary Kay and Grossi never asked Shedeur football questions. Yeah, and that wasn't a football question. He was sitting there having a good time laughing with his teammates, and then you come up and ask a question like that, and I was just kind of like, whoa. Like, he handled it very well, though. I'll give the kid credit, because there's a lot of people that would have been like, what the hell is going on here? But I think he handled it with I think he politely answered her question, but was also kind of like annoyed by it, which I would have been annoyed too, but I thought he handled it well. But I tell you, that kid's prepared. He's definitely used to it, though. You could tell that he's definitely used to it, because he was was not phased at all. And you could tell some of his teammates, though, sitting there were just kind of like, why? Like, why are you asking him this? Big Reg is in the house. Good to see you, Big Reg. They reported he was working on some huddle crap stuff, or huddle crap, since played a no huddle offense the last 4 years. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, that's my whole point. I think the rookie quarterbacks are probably off to the side of the field, because they got to learn a little more of the basic stuff, like in terms of the cadences, playing more under center, getting those reps again, all that stuff. So, in terms of Flacco and Pickett, they've been in an NFL system for Flacco for his last, I don't know how many years now, forever. And then Kenny Pickett, for the last almost 4 or 5 years now, he's been in the NFL, so he's at least got the reps and been in the systems and familiarity. So that's all it is. Shady and James Jones said they know people who actually be in the Browns huddle. Saint Shedeur looks like he should start. I have seen that report go Bucks. Here's what I'll say about that. I think the coaching staff is going to stick to their plan, which I think I think they should if they're in charge. But here's what I'll say about Shedeur. What I have noticed is he has completely got the buy-in from that locker room. I mean, before the kid even got here, you had veterans on this team like Njoku and some other guys on social media saying, "Welcome to Cleveland, welcome to Cleveland, welcome to Cleveland." They didn't do that for Dylan Gabriel. They did it for Shedeur Sanders. And ever since he's been in the building, you hear what the veterans like Joe Flacco and others have said about him. They just love being, and even the coach, Kevin Stefanski, they just love being around this kid. And I think I would too. He's a very likable kid. I like listening to him talk. He's funny. I think he's just you could tell he grew up around Deion Sanders. Like he's not afraid of the spotlight. He's a very likable kid, and he's very honest. I think when he talks, I think he just speaks how he feels, and he's very confident too, and that shows when it just he's just very confident. He's not fazed by anything. So I think he's definitely got the buy-in in that locker room, which why I think Baker had such a good rookie year, considering all the turmoil that happened behind the scenes that year. Baker got buy-in in that locker room too, and I think it helped him that season. And the guys play better with Baker. I think the guys like Joe Flacco because they already have, they have experience with Joe already. But I think a guy like Baker, if Joe starts to look really old, he is 40, maybe not the same Joe from 2 years ago, like a Dan said earlier, they're 1-4, 2-4. I think you inject Shedeur out there and he starts to play well. You might get a little lightning in the bottle, and maybe and like I said, if they could reincarnate 2018 again with Baker with Shedeur, I think you're in really good hands moving forward for the future. I think you're right back to where you were. Now let's just do it the right way this time with our quarterback, right? And not make the same mistakes we made with Baker after 2018. Great show, son. Good to see you, Mom. Love you, Mom. Tony Grossi is a weirdo. B Skrill says salute. Salute, B Skrills. Good to see you. He's not starting practice squad. Says motivated, dedicated. Go Bucks. Are you putting the 3 QBs on separate fields to compete because you know you are keeping Shedeur? Shedeur is definitely going to be on this team. I think the odd man out is going to be Kenny Pickett. Here, the Browns already signed Shedeur to, was it a 4-year contract? Dylan Gabriel, I think, signed a contract as well. Kenny Pickett's on a 1-year deal, and they only gave up DTR. They just basically swapped quarterbacks. So you didn't really give up anything for him. I think he's the odd man out. I think bringing in Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, what it tells me is this: we want a veteran starter week 1, which is why I don't think he's going to start week 1. I think their plan all along has been one of these two guys. I think the competition is separate: the veteran competition, and let's have the rookie quarterback competition. And I think Shedeur's miles ahead of Dylan Gabriel in that competition, so he will be the next in line. Now, in terms of this competition, I think Joe Flacco's, from my all accounts and reports, is outplaying Kenny Pickett. And so I think Kenny Pickett's going to be the odd man out. And I think what they're doing right now, again, I think the rookie quarterbacks are on a different field with the rookies. I think because the rookies got to learn a lot of the, like I said, basic stuff in the NFL, just from different stuff, or there's difference in the game that they played in college, like Big Reg pointed out earlier, to stuff now in the NFL. I think that's all they're doing. That's what OTAs is. It's all basic stuff, not a whole lot of nuance and complexities to it. So it's just getting guys ramped up really for training camp. So that's how I see it. But I think he said, are you putting 3 QBs on a separate field to compete because you know you are keeping Shedeur? Yeah. And so, like I said, I think Shedeur is going to be here. I think the real competition is between Flacco and Pickett right now. But I think Pickett's going to be higher. And why is Gabriel out there? Maybe the competition's really Gabriel and Pickett for the third spot? Because if I had to make my depth chart right now, I would say Flacco would be the 1 week 1, Shedeur's gonna be the 2, and I think Gabriel will be the 3 because you took him with a third round pick. But Pickett could be the third option, but I don't see it that way. Motivated, you followed Shedeur from Colorado. Awesome. When you win the locker room, your teammates will play more loose and fun. Yeah, and they buy in more, and they, especially with a rookie. I think when you listen to Jerry Jeudy on that podcast after the season, there was a lot of talks about the Browns taking Travis Hunter at number 2, and Jerry Jeudy basically said, "We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback." David Njoku going down there working out with Cam Ward. Obviously, Cam Ward, everybody knew he was going number 1, but just in case, these guys, these veterans on this team are looking for the guy. They want the guy. I think they know Flacco could maybe give him 1 year, but he's old. He's 40. There's some question marks there. You can't put a lot of. The guy's 40. So could he do it? Yes, but I think they're looking for the guy moving forward in the future because these guys are all under contract still with the Browns after this year. So if Shedeur's that guy and they're already bought into him, that's the guy, the kid, the rookie, and he goes out there and plays well, let me tell you something. That whole team's gonna be out there doing this, and they'll be very, very happy and smiling again, unlike last year. So, my last question: why wouldn't Watson just call it a day and move on? Well, in terms of Deshaun Watson, he's under contract. He's going to show up and report to his duties under contractual obligations. I think the Browns have to wait till 1 more year. What you say? I think next offseason is when they can actually cut him and then somehow cut the money where it goes out. They pay him out throughout the years. But he has to be in the building because technically he's under contract and he's just rehabbing and stuff. And I think you have to by contractual obligations, you have to show up, mandatory. It's NFL rules. So I think that's all it is. But in terms of the Watson era in Cleveland, it's over. It's over. It just hasn't officially happened yet, I guess you could say, what you say. But he's never going to take another down in the Cleveland. He may not never take another down in the NFL. Especially just the injury alone. I don't know. That's a tough injury to come back from. He's had 2 major injuries the last 2 years. He tore the Achilles last year, obviously, and re-tore it again this offseason. So, but I think in terms of the Browns standpoint, I think they have to wait. They have to wait till next offseason because it's just a money game, obviously, at this point. How can we somewhat protect? How can we salvage the cap as much as we can? Because we're going to take a hit on it. But how can we protect it the best we can so where it doesn't affect us as bad? So I think that's all it is. Ronnie said, "Hey, Mrs. Labman, we love your son's show." I appreciate it, Ronnie. And we love having you we love having you and all you guys over here. You guys have been great. I wanted to play these clips for you guys before I get out of here. I meant to play them earlier, but it's been great reacting to the comments. Love talking to you guys. Let's see here. Which one do I want to play? Okay, so obviously the big question of the show is, would it be a good or bad idea? Ken Carman and Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland gave a take on it. I thought it was interesting. Made some headlines this week nationally. It says, you can see your quote, Ken Carman says, I want him to have a chance to succeed. I want what's best for Shedeur Sanders. Starting week 1 would be a reckless thing to do. So let's hear what Ken Carman and Anthony Lima had to say here via 92.3 The Fan.
I want him to have a chance to succeed, and it's too much too soon. He seems like a good young kid. I hate the crap that people are laying on him. I want what's best for Shedeur Sanders. And starting him week 1 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals is reckless.
So
it's
Shedeur Sanders
thing to do.
So, of course, in my scenario, Shedeur Sanders looks amazing in the preseason games. And the Eagles are coming off the practice field in their dual practice, right? They're coming off the practice field saying, that dude's got it. And Ken's going to say, shh, wet blanket alert. With blanket alert.
Yep.
Whatever you do, he can't start.
I want what's best for him.
Like, would you have done that with Jaden Daniels last year in Washington? Of course you wouldn't. That's so silly.
Overall.
You said you thought he should go number 2 overall.
He was number 2 overall.
You said Shedeur should go number 2. But now today, for the sake of this argument, he's a 5th-round pick.
And
he's Brock Purdy all of a sudden.
Because they're supposed to be the
ones.
Get a
handle over your arguments.
They're supposed to be the ones that know better than me. He went number 2 overall. There's proof there with Jaden Daniels. This guy fell to the 5th round, and they took a guy before him that doesn't have any of the intangibles that a lot of people think would be an NFL quarterback. So, yeah, if they took a guy who people were going, what?
I just don't believe anything I'm hearing right now.
So, interesting stuff there from Ken and Lima. Obviously, Ken's fired up, as he usually is in the mornings, and Lyman's sitting there just egging him on. But that's why they're great to listen to in the morning. But shout out to those two. I get what Ken's saying in terms of this. That's kind of what I've said already in the show. And I think if you're Colorado fans, which have some of you watching, or Shedeur fans, Sanders fans, Browns fans, we're very skeptical because we've been through a lot of hell with quarterbacks. We've never gotten it right. We don't want to screw this up. And I think Ken, like myself, believes in Shedeur Sanders. He even said before the draft he think he would have taken number 2 overall. So I would I get why he's saying I don't want to throw him out there if he's not ready. Like, I want to make sure, and I think he sees what I see in terms of the structure right now. This team last year was so bad, and you saw a lot of holes on paper, and you saw it on the field by watching it, which is why, like, Dan came up here, put in the comments here, he thinks still 6-11 team, because there's a lot of question marks outside of the quarterbacks, even with this team. Like I said, with receivers, the O-line's got to get healthy. Can the defense bounce back? Can the back 7 be better than they were last year? You don't have JOK. There's still a lot of question marks in this roster. So as a whole, I mean, it's a team sport. So there's a lot of question marks here. So I get why you wouldn't want to throw him out there. However, I know they mentioned he's a 5th-round pick. To me, I think, and Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry even said this. Andrew Berry said in his press conference after the draft, we think he's capable of outperforming his draft selection. Basically saying we think he's better than where he was taken. He's better than a 5th-round pick. He's not a 5th-round talent. He's probably a top 1 to 2 latest round talent in that draft, especially with as weak as the quarterback position was in this draft. It wasn't great. He was better than most of the guys taken ahead of him. I think the only guy really to make a legit argument, like I think the only guy you could say was like definitely better in terms of talent was Cam Ward. But I mean, Cam Ward might be more talented, but there's stuff Shedeur's better than Cam Ward at. There's just a quarterback play. I mean, yeah, Cam Ward's got a big arm and stuff, but there's stuff Shedeur does in the pocket, I think, better, which I think wins more games in the NFL than Cam Ward. But in all that being said, he's better than a 5th-round pick. So if he's actually able to go out there and win the job like Jaden Daniels did, and look like that in the preseason, and they're like, this guy's got to play, like Lima said, then I think the coaching staff may have to just go what they think is best. But I don't know. They may not put him out there regardless. They may just say, we're not doing it. We want to do it. We want to make sure it's completely perfect before we put him out there. As perfect as can be. So we'll see. He said, don't trust Ken Carmen when it comes to quarterback. His high school runs with a wing tee. What high school is that? Do you know which one is that, Dan? I can't remember. We'll say about the wing tee too. I remember I ran some wing tee when we played. We ran a different way though because we had so many weapons on our team. But Perry. Oh, you went to Perry. Perry runs a wing tee still? Damn. I didn't know they ran the wing tee. I haven't seen Perry play football in a while, but I didn't know they ran the wing tee. Who else? Brett Favre ran the wing tee in high school too. His dad was the coach. And he ran the wing tee. I remember listening about that. If Shedeur was the 2nd overall pick, would there even be an issue? No, probably not, Rodney. I think if he was the 2nd overall pick, Rodney, that people would be saying he needs to start week 1. But to me, in my opinion, I don't really care where they were drafted. I just look at you're a rookie quarterback. You're on the team. What can you do? I mean, hell, Brock Purdy was the Mr. Relevant pick. You see what he became I mean, I don't think he's the greatest quarterback, but he still played good. He got him to the Super Bowl. He was a starting quarterback on a Super Bowl team. I think he outperformed. So I don't really pay attention to selection. I get the media because if you're the second overall pick, you got to be this, you got to be that. I think where a lot of these people in the media, Rodney, people that don't really understand the game or don't understand just a lot of the nuance, especially with rookies and just there's a development and there's a lot of things that go into it. I think the most successful organizations are the guys that develop their guys properly. Each player is different. Each guy, one guy may need a little more time. Some guys may be ready right away. But again, it starts with your structure as an organization. I think that's what the Browns have the biggest question marks is their structure as an organization, not only on the field, but also off the field as well. It's been a big issue here for a long time. So that's why a lot of guys here haven't really succeeded here. So, yeah, but would it be an issue? No. But do I think, in my opinion, I don't care where he's selected. I know what he is. I think he's better where he's picked. And I just think we as if I'm the organization, we as an organization help this kid the best we can to reach his maximum potential. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't care where he's taken. He's a fifth round. He's fifth round, not by talent. They said he dropped because of pre-draft attitude. Meeting Shedeur is as good as the number one pick, and Dylan was never mentioned in the same breath as Shedeur. No, he was not. Dylan Gabriel was not even on my draft board. Maybe a seventh round pick, but third round, I didn't see many mocks in the third round. Again, nothing against the kid. Here, he made the NFL. He has a 2% of collegiate athletes make it to the NFL. That's a tough thing to do. But do I think he's going to be successful in the NFL? Would I have taken him? No. I think it's just a left-handed DTR. But, yeah. Shedeur played on a team whose worst power forward team year before. Yeah, he did. That was not a good Colorado team the first year. I mean, even last year, I mean, they were obviously made a bowl game. They were a lot better, but still a lot of holes in that roster. So, but he got into the bowl game, and I think the biggest thing was impressive was the how bad that O-line was. Yet he still able to find success in that with that bad of an O-line. That O-line was bad, especially that first year. Perry, the NFL loves a great storyline. They're about to milk this puppy. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you, Rodney. I think the NFL wants Shedeur. If I'm the NFL, I want Shedeur to be successful because it's massive. We're looking from an NFL business standpoint. He's massive ratings, massive marketing. I already got the number one jersey salesman record. I mean, I walked into Dick's Sporting Goods the other day here in the area, and as soon as I walked in and took a left at this brand new one they just built, nice, beautiful one. The jersey's right there. As soon as you walk into the left, turn your head to the left, it's right there. So yeah, I mean, they definitely want him to be, in my opinion, from a business standpoint, it's very smart. It would be a smart decision for Shedeur to be successful and to milk every to milk the puppy, like you said. This will be the first time the Browns draft the highest rated NCAA passer of all time and destroyed him with an early NFL entry. Tim Couch. Yep. And Tim Couch was a great prospect, just walked into a terrible situation and really was never, the guy was set up to fail to begin with. And it really was, a lot of it wasn't his fault because, I mean, again, you can't expect these guys coming out of college. It's your job as an organization to help them succeed, to put them in the right spots. They're rookies. They're learning the NFL. You're supposed to help them with that. And Tim Couch was a great example of that, of just walked into a complete dumpster fire. And the guy, unfortunately, just never had a chance to succeed. And people, and it's funny how the media, certain people in the media start putting out narratives. The team the people that are basically the mouthpieces for the team, and start putting stuff out in the media. This guy stinks, and this guy's this guy's that. Meanwhile, they don't tell you all the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, why he's not doing well, because a lot of it wasn't not their fault, right? And I remember Tim Couch. I felt so. I mean, I was a little kid, but hearing the stories now, I feel even worse for the guy. I remember he walked off the field one time, and it's messed up. One of the fans, he was walking in a tunnel after a game, and a fan looked at him and said, "I wish you were dead." I mean, that's like, that's terrible. You say that to somebody, a human being, number one, but this guy, I mean, to hear that, and he was in the locker room crying after because he was just like the fan base just turned on him, and everybody was just saying all that stuff to him. And I'm sure if you go back and pull up a lot of those headlines back then, a lot of it was probably the same mouthpieces putting out the narratives. The team trying to cover their ass because they're not capable of developing a quarterback. So let's blame him, right? Same thing they did with Baker his last year. Everybody saw Baker's this, Baker's that. He's not good enough. He's too small. Now, I think, is there a question mark in terms of can Baker Mayfield get you over the hump all the way to the Super Bowl? That's a valid question. He's got to prove it. But in terms of being a starter in the NFL and a franchise guy, you see what he is now. That's a bad look on them for not, they failed him that season and tried to blame it on him when you threw him out there injured for business decisions. I'm rocking with number 12. He said God put him where he wanted him to be. That's right. I mean, here the Lord had a plan for him, and this is where God wanted him. So here, I love that he said that, Big Reg, and not only because I'm a fellow believer myself, but also I just think this kid's confidence, man, he's unrattled. Well, like I said, the biggest thing that ever impressed me with Shedeur Sanders was when he got the prank phone call day 2 and just said, "Where's that ball at?" Start throwing the ball, start working out, throwing passes, just unfazed. Everybody else around him was pissed off. This is bullshit, obviously, as it should be. It was messed up, but he just didn't. All he wanted was a chance, and I think that was probably a very humbling experience for him. I think for anybody, it would be a humbling experience. I mean, when you go through something like that and you hear your name getting thrown around like that and dragged in the mud, I mean, it only adds fuel to the fire, but also humbles you. And it says, you know what? I'm going to show these people. I'll just give me an opportunity. And I think the way he's handled it here in Cleveland since he's been here, he's been great. There's been no negative headlines with him. He's been great in the media. He's done stuff off the field. He's handled everything well. He's showed up here and he's working out a lot of, he's working out at St. Ed's or Ignatius a lot. He's just been working on his game a lot off the field around local areas, local high schools in the area in Cleveland. He's had some local high school receivers come out too and catch passes, and he just put his head down and went to work. That's about it. I mean, I know one of my shout my man Brian Williams might be watching this. The head football coach at Bookville. He got to meet him today. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, he's been great since he's been here. I think he just had that same mentality, and I think the team has bought into him as well. And he's got buy-in in that locker room. They all like him and all love him. So set the completion percentage record in year 2. I think the dude is different, and Prime has taught him pro defense since Pee Wee football. I'll be quiet now. I feel you, go Bucks. I don't disagree. I think the kid's prepared. He's going to be prepared for this moment. Again, I think once he just learns their system and the terminology and gets more comfortable, and I think when they feel again, how we see it may be different how the coaches see it. They see him every day. They're with him every day. So maybe when they feel like he's ready to go out there and play, I think he'll do well. So now we're having a horde offensive line. Isn't that a plus regarding experience? Yeah, I think it can be. I think it could be a negative in terms of you're always used to playing out of structure because you're so used to rolling out of the pocket. But I think now you put them in structure and with a better O-line. Hopefully our O-line will be healthy this year and back to what they were years prior. And I think, it will help him because I think it'll make it a lot easier. He'll be out there like the breath of fresh air. He can actually sit in the pocket and go through his reads more consistently than he did at Colorado. And I'm sure there'll be a breath of fresh air for him. I got one more clip from these guys, and I got another one. I'll play. We'll close it up. It's getting a little late here. I think it would be disastrous to make. Oh, here's another clip from their show. Man. So again, nothing's showing. Oh my gosh. My bad. Okay, so sorry about that. Here's the clip. It said it was sharing on the screen. This stupid ass. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Here's the actual clip. This is not show. Okay, this isn't showing at all. Let's try this. I like how I just sat there and stared at the screen for 2 minutes. That was
Oh, and as
great.
Ken Carmen
Appreciate you
not
guys.
said, we got to stop
Help me.
using
I didn't see the college
I
guys because it was on
to
full
fix
screen
your
here.
argument.
So here it is right here, since it wasn't showing. Let's see if it's showing now. Okay, now it's showing. Good grief. All right. Sorry about that. So let's try this again.
I would think it's almost a disastrous move if they were to make him the week 1 starter. He's a 5th-round guy, which I know I want to try to remove.
Yeah,
the
wait,
labels.
you got to pick. Hold on. You got to tell me once and for all, is he a 1st-round guy or a 5th-round guy? Because you said
He's taken in the 5th round.
Hold on.
He's taken in the 5th round, but he thought he was a 1st-round talent.
Back me up here, Owen. Has Ken Carmen not said that we got to stop using that label?
I know that.
To fix your argument, you went back to the 5th round.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. But you decided you all of a sudden trust Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry to evaluate quarterbacks to fit your argument. So don't tell me about using things to fit arguments, slippery wizard.
I don't trust these guys. I already told you that.
So why would you feel good if he made him the week 1 starter?
I told you, if he leapfrogs, Joe Flacco was on this team when they went to the playoffs the other year. If he leapfrogs the guys that they gave up assets for, that they took ahead of him, then it becomes like, all right, this guy's undeniable. Why would you put a stop sign?
You
just
for
that?
Said
Why
you
would
don't
you
trust them.
I don't. But that's going to be
so
the same.
So you shouldn't feel good.
But okay, I'm telling you that he's probably he's 4th in line, and they're supposed to be a bad football team. Like, I'm not expecting any of this. I'm telling you, in this hypothetical, if he's leapfrogging 3 other guys, not 1, not 2, but 3 other guys, then yeah, that's gonna draw some excitement from me. Should I not get excited about that? Your Ken Carmen is telling me I shouldn't be excited about that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You wouldn't be excited.
I'd certainly be curious. And
stop it. Ken Carmen would not be. You're lying. You're just flat out lying to people in Cleveland.
No, I'm not.
The Ken Carmen is saying, if we find out week 1, who they play in week 1, they go into week 1, Cincinnati, and he is number 1 on the depth chart. QB1, Shedeur Sanders, with all the hype. 60 Minutes will be back in town. Ken Carmen's going to say, I'm really mad. This is a mistake. What a disaster. No, you wouldn't. This is the biggest lie he's ever told. Next to the fact that he would turn down 3 times the salary going to Milwaukee. This is the biggest lie I've ever heard Ken Carmen say. And I've heard a lot of them. But this is the biggest.
All right. So, again, I think a lot of Ken's skepticism is obviously just because he doesn't trust this front office and this coaching staff, which I think is valid. Again, I think a lot of Cleveland fans don't trust these guys anymore, and I think they're kind of nervous. I think a lot of fans like Ken think Shedeur can be successful. They just don't think it's going to happen under these guys. They don't think these guys can help him get to where he needs to get to. I think the Browns' biggest problem is more towards the philosophies they have, towards analytics, and they've been too much full-blown analytics. They're the most analytical team in the league, according to ESPN survey. And it's not a coincidence either that the Buccaneers are the least analytical team. And that's the team Baker went to. He plays a lot better in Tampa than he did here. Interesting. But I think Ken's skepticism comes from that. But I get what Lima is saying, though, too, on the left there, that if he leapfrogs 3 other guys and is by far the best guy, then I think he's got to play. So, again, I have skepticism whether or not the front office, that the coaching staff has full autonomy to make that decision. And good or like, if even what I mean by full autonomy is whether the coaching staff thinks he should start week 1 or not. That's my biggest thing, because if they don't think he should start week 1, but the ownership says that he should, I'd be a little worried. But if the coaching staff thinks that he should start week 1, but the ownership says, no, we don't want to put him out there, but we want Flacco too for safer reasons, I would still be worried then, because I think the coaching staff, in terms of all the people in that building, they're the ones that have the football eyes. They're the ones who should be making the decision. I'm sorry, the people I have the least amount of trust in is people in that front office in this organization. The full-blown analytics and all that stuff, I'm sorry, they can't evaluate talent. I don't think they're capable of doing it. So, wonder what the analytics says about 3 wins. Oh, they'll don't you worry, go Bucks. They defend it like nobody's business. They act like nothing happened. It was all Deshaun's fault, and which Deshaun was terrible here. But again, that's what they'll say was all that. We do no wrong. Trust those analytics. Don't you dare question those analytics. And blah blah blah. It's been the same script for the last 10 years. Go Bucks. As a Browns fan, and I did 2 videos on it. Go watch my San Diego Browns video I did. It's probably my most popular video I did last year, where I broke it all down. Ever since 2016, when Paul DePodesta, the Moneyball guy from the movie Moneyball, took over here, it's basically been the president of the team. That's what it's been. And so, it's just they've always defended it. They've always got some strategy. It was Operation Stockpile. I know I'm not on the screen. It's been Operation Stock. Here, I'll go back. You guys want to see my face that bad? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. But it's been Operation Stockpile. It's been all that stuff. And so it's been they've always defended it. They've always defended it, and they live and die by these analytics. Go watch the NFL draft when the Browns selected all their players. Who's sitting right there on the left of Andrew Berry? Paul DePodesta. Might have been the guy that was pulling the strings for Dylan Gabriel. Just a thought. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. Trust those analytics. That's really worked out well for him. Musgrave, and I'm not anti-analytics either. Analytics is good information, but it shouldn't be your full philosophy. It should be your football foundation and philosophy and how you attack teams and how you try to go win games. What else we got here? Musgrave is in touch with Prime. He will know what's going on. I'm sure he has. Joe, after listening to you explain how the organization's messed with the QBs over the years, then yes, they should take their time with Shedeur. Yeah, and I'm not, if the coaching staff believes he should play week 1, then he should play. If they don't, then they don't. Then he doesn't. But that's okay. But take their time with him. Don't rush him out there, and don't hold him back either. But don't mess this up with this kid. Nothing. I love you guys for hanging in there with me for that. Sorry, you just got to sit there and watch me stare at the screen for 2 minutes. It literally said it was sharing on the screen, and so I thought it was playing, but it ended up going to another window opened, and it didn't share properly, so I had to do it again. So sorry about that. I appreciate you guys' patience. Miles Garrett asked for a trade. Do you think he will be quiet if players think Shedeur should be playing? I don't know. It could possibly. I think Miles really don't give a shit at this point, and nor should he. I don't think they'll disrespect. If Joe Flacco's out there playing and he's not playing great, but they think Shedeur, I don't think guys will take shot. I don't think guys would do that to Joe Flacco. I think there's enough respect in that locker room for Joe Flacco. I think he's earned that respect. I just think they'll make it known probably internally. I think, but they probably wouldn't have to say it. I think the coaching staff would probably already have a plan in place where, okay, but you got to put Shedeur out there. I'm sure ownership would be putting pressure on him too. So I don't think he would do that publicly. I don't think he would disrespect Joe Flacco like that. And I think Miles probably would keep that internally. I love those 2 guys. They're hilarious. What's the name of their show? It's the right there, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lyon. It's on 92.3 The Fan here in Cleveland every day, every morning, I think from 6 a.m. to I think 10. Just go to 93thefan.com. You'll check them out there. His draft order, want to give him a chance to sit. He may have to win now. So draft could be next year, and he back in on the Browns QB battle. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out, Big Reg. I mean, he's definitely got to play this year. I think he's got to play the most games on any quarterback this year for sure, because you got to know what you have moving forward in the future. Because if he shows that he's the guy, then you think he is the guy, then now you can use those 2 first-round picks you got next year. You can use them on other positions, maybe a left tackle if need be. Hoping DeWan's the guy, or a receiver. That'd be nice. You take Caleb Downs if that Jacksonville pick's high enough. So, but yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Analytics for baseball relievers seem okay, but football, yeah, I agree. I've went on so many rants about this. Go Bucks. I'm just so tired of talking about Paul DePodesta because I would have fired him already. I mean, I think he's too big of a name. He really is the face of sports analytics. So I think he should demand being the president because he can because of his name. He has a brand. He's a Moneyball guy. So, but me personally, I just don't think it's going to work with him in the building. I think, and this has nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders or the team, but I don't think this team can fully reach their full capabilities and possibly go as far as they want to go, especially like in terms of success in the postseason one day or winning division until they get him out of here or he has less powers because the guy he's way too involved. And I think maybe, people talk about Deion Sanders. If the Browns have a bad season next year and let's say Shedeur plays well though, but there's still some stuff going on where they need some changes. And people have talked about would Deion Sanders then get brought for head coach and everything. Here's one thing I would say Deion Sanders, if I were him, or even Shedeur or somebody, if Shedeur's the guy, and I'm sure they would probably see. I highly doubt Deion Sanders as a full blown would work with a guy like Paul DiPodesta in the role he has here. Somebody's got to step up here to Jimmy Haslam and tell him, listen, man, we need to get this guy out of here. Like it's just not working well. Like he's way too involved with the game planning at times. I mean, there was a report when the Browns hired Stefanski, it said that the game plan has to be shown to the owner before every game. And I think a lot of that is Paul DiPodesta reviewing, in my opinion, reviewing the game plan. What does Jimmy Haslam, J.W. Johnson, who's the son-in-law of one of the Browns owners, or Paul DiPodesta know anything about getting a first down? Probably nothing. He could tell you a stat, but I'm just sorry. The guy has no football background, no pedigree. I know he played at Harvard. I don't think he played at all, though. He probably was just on the team because maybe his parents were donors. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But the guy he should not have the role he has. So that's just me. He said, Joseph, you can do no wrong. Appreciate you, Rodney. Owner says, get Shiloh, then get Prime on the phone. I mean, I don't know. Shiloh might find himself a contract down there in Tampa. I mean, I think that's a good situation for him. That defense down there, I think he's a hard hitter. I think if he could find a role and develop throughout the season and get on the field maybe later in the year, mid-year, whatever, I think he can find a home down there in Tampa. They brought him in. I think they seem to like him too. So, Haslam doesn't even know what he's looking at. At times, I agree, Roddy. I don't think he's knew what he's looking at for a long time. Browns fans have been wondering that same question ever since he started owning the team. So, but we'll close with this. I thought this was pretty cool. Here's a mic'd up from the other day. Prime said he would only coach if he could coach both his kids. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Go Bucks. I mean, we'll see how that unplay. I think that's something that has to unfold down the road. I think a lot would have to go down for that to happen. Shiloh has a contract. Yeah, he's under contract. Okay. Let's make sure this is sharing. Okay, it is. So here's the mic'd up from Joe Flacco. There's a cool moment here between him and the funny moment between him and Shedeur here. We'll watch this and then wrap it up.
I'm mic'd up today. Oh, yeah, I can't. I feel like I can't even talk. I want to say a couple things, and I'm just like, I can't do it. You know. I was telling Dylan yesterday. Somebody said, "Hey, 5," and I always look. I still look. Like 15 is just like that. I think Anthony Walker was 5 when I got here last time. Yeah. So I think they just gave me 15. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's more. I still react to 5 more so than 15. It would. I don't know. I had it in high school. I actually wanted 16 because Montana. I like Montana, and my high school didn't have it at the time, so they had like 5 and some other number, and I just picked 5. What's that? Definitely not. I don't know if I've ever hit a public dance move in my life. feel like his voice doesn't really go with like his body.
Sound kind of look.
I don't know if his voice like goes with his body.
Shut up, bro.
Like,
Supposed to be deep.
yeah. Held him up a little bit, but he was so wide open it didn't matter.
Nice job. QB's on 3. 1, 2, 3.
QBs.
So that was pretty cool there. Obviously, you saw the Shedeur moment there. Shedeur was doing the dance, and he asked if he ever done that dance, and Flacco, obviously, I don't think he's ever danced a day in his life. He said never publicly, maybe privately, but anyways. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool though to watch. I mean, who doesn't like Joe Flacco? He's just a likable dude. He's just a cool dude, laid back. Won a Super Bowl. He's the man. He's a legend. But the biggest thing that stood out to me about all this, though, not only just the Shedeur clip, him talking to Shedeur, but every rep I saw, everything I saw, Shedeur's right there, either watching Joe Flacco or right behind him. And so, going back earlier, how do you put your rookie quarterback in a good structure and environment for him to develop and succeed, which you haven't done here in Cleveland? I think one of the things that they haven't had either was you go back to the Johnny Manziel year. Obviously, Johnny he had a lot of stuff off the field, but Brian Hoyer was trying not really to ever be Johnny Manziel's like mentor or compete. I mean, Johnny told a story recently too, I think on Club Shay Shay. You could tell that Hoyer was like, I'm trying to outplay this dude because I think I'm better than him, right? You go back to Baker's rookie year. Tyrod Taylor was brought in. They said Tyrod's going to be the starter automatically. They said Baker never had a shot to even compete for the week 1 job. So what's unique about this, though, is I think Joe Flacco, at his age, and those two guys were younger. Brian Hoyer was younger at that time of his career. Tyrod Taylor, both those guys were younger, still felt like they had something to prove in this league, that they could still be successful, right? I think Joe Flacco still believes he can win and be successful on the right team. But I think Joe also knows, I mean, he's joining a 3-win team from last year, and the market wasn't as hot for him. And I think Joe knows what he is at this point. He's still a pretty good quarterback, but he's 40. He doesn't have much time left. And I think what not a better situation for Shedeur than have a guy like this who's won a Super Bowl, has the cachet, he's very likable, the respect. The Browns have never had a veteran, which I think is a big. If I'm drafting a rookie, go back to what Patrick Mahomes had. He had Alex Smith, and Alex Smith at that time knew what the writing was on the wall, but he accepted it. All right, and it helped. I'm sure Alex Smith helped Patrick Mahomes a lot just by, maybe not just verbally, but just by Patrick watching a guy like that who was an NFL pro for a long time at that point. Joe Flacco's already helped a guy in Lamar Jackson, and Joe knew it was towards the end of the road there in Baltimore, and he's been here before, and I'm sure Joe Flacco helped Lamar out a lot, right? And just by Lamar just watching him, just how to be a pro. And so that's what Shedeur has every day. And Shedeur mentioned this on the Kay Adams show, how he loves just watching this guy every day. He just loves Joe Flacco. His eyes lit up and he smiled when he brought him up. And I think that's the biggest thing. He might be the biggest piece of this whole puzzle for Shedeur to really succeed, because he could just being himself, not even showing him or telling him, just leading by example. I think having that veteran presence, and not only on the field, but off the field, in the meeting rooms and just in the locker room, how he conducts himself. I mean, the guy's played this long in the NFL for a reason. He's done some things right to play this long. So what not a better guy for Shedeur to watch in terms of just, this is how it's done in the NFL from a quarterback perspective. And I think Shedeur knows a lot of through his dad, obviously, just in terms of being a pro, but obviously from a quarterback standpoint, it's a little different. Deion was a corner, not a quarterback. So I think it's great that they brought in a veteran like Joe with Shedeur. I think it would only help him. And I think the relationship, I think, would be pretty cool. I think Joe Flacco's, he's a very smart enough guy. He understands if, Shedeur takes over midseason, I think he knows what time it is, but I don't think Joe would be a guy that would be sour about it or make a fuss or be like Brian Hoyer that 1 year, try to compete. I think he just would still be a positive light in that locker room for Shedeur, and a guy that he can. I think a guy that Shedeur can lean on at times and learn and ask questions from. And he's Super Bowl winner. We're not a better guy to ask from than I think Joe. So, great show, Joe. Appreciate what you say. Appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Hit the like button. Absolutely appreciate you tune. Mentorship, absolutely. Shedeur will take over at some point. Yes, he will. Prime was a great QB in high school. Yes, he was. But I'm talking about in terms of just, you know what I mean, in terms of NFL quarterback, because obviously there's difference between high school and college, difference between college and high school. What not a better mentor than Joe Flacco in terms of the NFL quarterback in the NFL game. So I think, like I said, I think it'll be great. But you're right. I mean, this kid already, and I pointed, this kid already knows what the pros are like from his dad and being around it, growing up around it. But Joe Flacco only helped that more. So I think it's a good thing that they have never done. But shout out to you, Rodney. Love all you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And hit the comment below. Hit the like button. Subscribe. We're so close to 500. Let's get to 500 subscribers by the end of the next week if we can. Let's try to shoot for that. Maybe by the end of this weekend we get to 500 subscribers. So please share this. Call around to hit the subscribe button. Like this video. We got a lot of you guys. You like what we're doing over here at the Real. Dan was in the house tonight. We got the Fix coming soon. The sports betting show with him and Chris. Mike will be back with Professional Fan. Probably the latest, maybe this weekend or earliest next week. So stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, and share. Support what we're doing over here at the Real Media, and we need your guys' help. We just need for you guys hit the subscribe button. That's all. So like, subscribe, share all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. Gone.